y'all drag a chair up down close to the front. I'm going to tell you some pretty good stuff today. It may save you some money if you fool around on these old engines. Generically, categorically referred to as hit and miss engines. A couple things I've learnt at some point that I passed on. The spark plug that was in the last video there that I fleetingly referred to, this is it, a follow up on a comment there to explain it further up close. And what I've done is one of these big old spark plugs here had went bad, and I took the bottom of it off, this part right here, sawed that off, broke the porcelain mount, put it in the lathe, and turned an indent in there, faced it off here, and did corners there, you know, normal machining stuff. Flat surface down in there for a gasket. And then I had these Bosch plugs that someone had discarded. It's a little platinum thing right yonder, and them little things will fire through almost anything. Carbon is no match for that little point of platinum there. But it has a washer there, a sealing washer, and I put this in the lathe and turned the bottom of this down smaller than the inside of that, so it would go all the way down, and the distance is whatever kind of spark plug is you're using there. There's no measurements. You do not need a measurement. Just do it by what you need. Measure it on site. But you would like for your electrodes to be as far out into the engine as permissible with the piston height. In these M's, you've got a great large cavity there. But anyway, that's all it is. You can use any kind of spark plug. I think that's a 14 millimeter on the inside there. I'm sure it is. Just your normal. The longer reach will get you out yonder a little further. That's all it is. They do work good. I have built several of them, just happen to have this one. And you just tighten those two together, and then you can put it in a 7/8 spark plug thread. It requires a gasket on this type. But you know, you just break that off, dig that out, put that in the lathe, turn it and thread it, or the other one you would just put that in there and turn this to a smaller size. Another thing was a comment about these calipers, the Pioneer in that last video. And you know, I was thinking that after you familiarize yourself with the machine shop floor, meaning you've spent some time there, most students and most graduates and most professionals, I tell you what, actually a professional would come as near not knowing it as a beginner. Let's say you've got one of these digital caliper, burner cap, digital caliper, metric and inch and all that, battery in yonder, and got some numbers right there. Okay, you have to turn it on. And it'll zero itself out. But let's say that it didn't have a battery in it. Let's say that the battery was dead. Most people say, oh, you can't use it, got a bad battery in it. But you can. Actually, the little straight line right yonder lines up with the number as the same way the old manual caliper worked. The slide rule thing. But you just, and you'll be very close. You'll be very close. Let's just say let's go for 10 millimeters. 10 millimeters. I don't know, no, that's too much. Let's go for 40. That way we can see it better. That's the only reason. 40. Okay. Now, see, I've got that lined up here with the 40 on that scale right there. It's printed right on there. You can see it. And I just lined that up with it. Okay, now let's just turn it on and see how close. I'm going to lock it. so it can't be moved. And let's turn it on and see how close I am to 40. I think we're gonna be close. Wow, millimeter of 40.7. That's pretty good. Just on eyesight, you would be within that 0.7. That's pretty good. And the battery is going bad on this one because it's a blinking, so I'm going to turn it back off. But just because you have a bad battery in your digital caliper does not render it unusable. I'm just saying the point of this whole video was the heads. Follow up on the last video, which probably I hope made no sense whatsoever, but educational by default, let's say. Might have learned something. And these valves, I've had them for a long time, and they was longer than this. I cut them off and drilled a hole in yonder to the same spec as an old used worn out valve in one of these M's. So I'm sure no more than $3 I paid for that at one point in time. Modified, and it's the perfect stem diameter. I think 310 thousandths, I believe, is what it is. And to go with the valve guides, it's perfect. And I did use 2 of these on this head right here. If you remember, that's the head we was working on. Done already got it finished up. And I did go ahead and elect to use the old style two keepers the same. That was a very early style. And there was another one in there where you got the little screw. But this is the Sparkplug model that would have burnt kerosene also. So it was gas or kerosene, Sparkplug, with a different kind of carburetor on there. We'll talk about that later. I got one of them new. I got one of them in there too, a brand spanking new one. I had it on the shelf. I hated to use it, but there it is in use. Oversized valves. It's ready to go. It's just I needed an igniter model. So let's put this aside. The other one, I went on ahead and knocked this one out too, and it's got that other kind of keeper right there. You know, it's got a little screw on there and it clamps on there. Now some of them didn't have the thread in the nut, and some of them did. But this is my shop built valves in this one here. It's ready to go. Sparkplug model, gasoline. And the head I needed for the engine over in the corner is this head right here. And what I've been doing, cutting valve seats. I done already shot that reamer down through yonder, and then I pressed them guides in there, and I run that steel ball through there, and I got them to size. And then I got this thing right here in there. I think that's 311 thousandths, I believe, was the guide size. So anyway, cut the seat in the head at 46 degrees. On this side here, it's got air point down there. You can't go wrong. 31 on this side here if you used to need that. But what it is, these, and I only got one more. That's it. This valve right here compared. I'll show you something. How should we do this? The original valve, this is a new one right here. I didn't make this valve right here. I ordered this hit&miss. If you measure on the center, about the center of that valve seat, it's you know, let's just say that I'm gonna turn it on here. It's 30. No, it's millimeter. We have to have it in inches. It's 1. Okay, let's do that again. Okay, zero it out so we don't fool around with no bad numbers, and get that up about half on that seat right there, and it's 1.174. And the oversized valve, the one that I have to use is Okay, I think we can we can zero that out. Okay, which I did. Okay, let's go on up to the center of this valve, and it's 0.171. So I have to take that. I have to make this circle, that valve seat in this head right here. I have to make it that much bigger. And this Neway cutter, it'll do that. Oh, it'll do that really quick. So what I'm going to do is cut this seat right here in this valve. I'm going to cut that seat to match this valve, and then the other seat on that other side, it's pretty good original size. So what I'm going to do is use a original size valve on the intake and an oversized on the exhaust. That's just because the way it worked out, not by choice. It's just the way it worked out. So, and in this one, I'm just going to have a single angle seat. That's what these come from the factory with, a single angle, meaning that it was casted at a sharp corner right there like that, and then they just come along and cut off that sharp corner. And I'm going to retain that in this one if the bigger size does not get too wide. Taking that much material away, it could end up too wide of a seat, and at that point, if I do, then I'll go ahead and make adjustments necessary.